just want to welcome Tom Evans to the University of Roehampton. So welcome.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about MdS, everything about that, endurance, etc. So first of all, why did you choose MdS?
So I've always been into endurance events and I've always enjoyed pushing myself mentally and physically. I had a couple of friends who did Marathon Des Sables in 2016. They did really well. They all finished, I had three of them, all finished in the top 300. It was a huge achievement in such a challenging race. And over a couple of beers one evening, decided, being very competitive.
Sorry, you were having beers?
I was having beers.
Wow.
I know. It's fine, it's allowed.
This is not for elite athletes, should never have this.
No. You can't have any fun.
No.
And decided, being very competitive, so I was like, right, top 300, yeah, that's pretty good, but...
So there's 300 people, and how many athletes were there?
So there are, for Marathon Des Sables, there's about 1,500 runners.
Okay.
Out of that, you've got 50, somewhere between 50 and 100 who are pretty serious club runners equivalent.
Yeah. And
then you've got 500 who recreational runners, yeah. And then you've got a couple of hundred who are sort of going to walk it and are just doing it for a challenge. Like, everyone does MdS for such different reasons, whether you want to win it or you just want to complete it. And that's the really nice thing about the race, that everyone is there for a reason, and it's so differing why people do it. And like, the main reason that I did MdS was because I wanted to test myself. I wanted to see what I was capable of doing, and I had no ambitions of doing particularly well. I'd have loved to have finished as the top Brit, which would probably mean maybe top 15, top 15, maybe top 10.
So it's all about just going out and experiencing the whole of the MdS.
Yeah, precisely. And it's such a... It was my first proper ultra marathon. It was my first ever multi-stage race. I prepared quite a lot. I like the science behind it. I trust the science behind it. And with a race that you can fully prepare for, it just makes life... You can control more. Yeah. Yes, there are so many uncontrollable factors: the heat, the humidity, the terrain that you're on. But there are, in the longer the race, the more things that you can actually look after, especially in a self-supported race like MdS.
So I definitely think for athletes going out, being able to control the variables that you can control is key. So that's talking about your kit, your nutrition, and making sure that you get some exposure to heat prior to going out. Yeah,
big time, definitely. I think there are a couple of mantras that I used pre-Marathon Des Sables, and that I certainly used post-Marathon Des Sables. So the first one being control the controllables.
Yeah.
There are so many things that you can control in a race, be it your nutrition, your clothing, what training you've done before, whether you've spent time in the heat, sort of acclimation versus acclimatization, your mindset, all of these things you can control. And then the external factors, the heat, the humidity, the other competitors, there's nothing you can do about that. It's going to be the same for everyone. Don't worry about that. Just focus on you and your part in the plan. And the second mantra that I use, and I use a lot at the moment, is process, not outcome. Okay. So you worry about, right, that's the goal that you want to achieve. Perfect. We've sorted that out. Let's park that. Right, over there, end of the race. Right, today, this is the process. The process starts now. What can I do today to get myself one step closer to achieving that goal? And if you do everything right, and if you trust the process, and you genuinely can look at yourself at the end of the day in the mirror and say, right, I've done what I needed to do, I've improved today, I'm one step closer, then the outcome will look after itself, assuming that you've set realistic goals. And that's something that I used pre-Marathon Des Sables, and something that I'm continuing to use now in the build-up to future races.
It's amazing. Okay, so when we look back at the MdS last year, what would you say was the easiest part of the race?
I don't know. I think for me, the most enjoyable part of the race was I was fortunate enough to be running with the group of elite Moroccan athletes, which made it slightly easier because you weren't out on your own, and you knew where you were going. The Moroccans, they know the course. They can read the sand easily. They certainly don't follow the exact course from marker to marker. They read the sand and they know where it goes. The sand's constantly changing, and it's harder in some places and softer in some. You try and find the harder places. So it was easier running with them, as it just gave me that little bit of confidence that I wasn't going to get lost, and it was more enjoyable. I like running with people. Running on your own can sometimes get a bit boring, especially when you're in such a crazy environment like the Sahara Desert that I'd never been to before. It seems completely alien. So it was really nice to be able to. It just gave me a little bit more confidence for that.
Were you able? Did you work as a team a bit, or was it very much a few nods here and there and just carry on?
The Moroccans work as a team, and they certainly have tactics. And I certainly wasn't part of the team, but I almost made myself part of the team without them realising it. So we'd also taken in turns to lead and to set the pace. But then as soon as you got into a windy section, because I'm a little bit bigger, everyone would just slow down and drop in behind me. And then, precisely, as it makes life so much easier. And then on the penultimate day, because I like to run hard from the start, Moroccans sent out sort of a sacrificial lamb almost to bait me into going way too fast. I could see it unfolding, and I was like, right, I'm just not going to do that. And then that Moroccan who got sent out, he was then on a drip a couple of hours later, and didn't finish the race. So there are lots of tactics. It's more similar to cycling in these races, and for the Moroccans, the Marathon Des Sables means so much more to them. For us Brits, it's I'm doing this race. That's all it is. It's a race. You arrive, you race, you leave. That's it. It's done. And you still think about it, and you have your Marathon Des Sables medal, but that's not enough to win the race. It's for them. It's their culture. It's their lifestyle. It'd be like winning London Marathon for a kid who's grown up in London their whole lives, and it's part of their daily life. And that's why that's why the Moroccans do so well in it, because it means so much more to them than we do. And for when I go back to Marathon Des Sables, that's certainly something that I'm going to change by not just approaching it as a race, by approaching it as incorporating it into culture.
So like many of our athletes that are going to be starting their heat acclimation with us at Roehampton, they are first timers. We've got a few that are, have done it previously. However, they're first timers, majority of them. So like you said, you were able to realise the situation and know that basically you could have gone out and burnt yourself out, really. So what would your tips be, basically what you were doing to a certain degree last year, at how you can get back inside your head and actually this is your race, it doesn't matter about what anyone else is doing?
So in all of my training my heat acclimation that I did 2 weeks of slowly getting used to the heat, and I did that using hot yoga or having a hot bath or just wearing an extra layer into work, because you're just trying to get my body slightly more used so I could hit the ground running when I then spent time in the chamber. I then spent 5 days in the chamber every other day for 10 days before, and I found that gave me a good understanding of what was going to happen to my body when it started getting hot. And I did everything with the heart rate and trained sort of in and around my marathon pace heart rate. It's fairly intense, but you still got a bit to play with. And obviously in the heat, your heart rate's going to shoot up, whether it's 20 beats a minute or 10 beats a minute. So in theory, your body's working less hard, but your heart rate's going through the roof.
So just quickly on that point, was that quite difficult to deal with when you were training? Because you were thinking, well, normally I can run a lot faster, but my heart rate is quite high already.
It was. And mentally, it's super tough. And especially in a lot of the chambers, it's you, 4 walls and a treadmill. And it's not the most glamorous place to do it. And it does. And you have a lot of time to think for yourself. All you can hear is sort of the pounding of your feet and sort of the beat of the treadmill and the carpet turning on it. And yeah, you do have a lot of time, but just knowing, if you understand why you're doing something and exactly what your body's doing right, why am I sweating so much? Right, I'm sweating so much because my body is trying to cool itself down.
Yeah.
The more I sweat, the harder I can run because my core body temperature is lower.
Yeah.
And that's then pushing up my heart rate. So yes, I may not feel like I'm working that hard, but my body internally is working so hard to then allow me to run. So as long as, if you can buy into the process,
it's like your mantra.
yeah, exactly. Buy into the process and do it. So I did everything, all my training on heart rate monitor. The one thing that I forgot for the race was my heart rate monitor.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Is this where, wait, someone has told me about this, the Pringle trick or something, with your hands like this?
Yeah,
What's, like,
the Pringle
I don't
trick's
know,
great.
That may not have been the true thing.
The Pringle trick is great. It's different to heart rate. Pringle trick is holding your hands like this, as if you're holding a Pringle, because if you have any built-up tension, it's going to go through your arms, and you use your fingers as a conductor.
I think everyone right now is probably doing it.
And it works. You look slightly, you don't look as masculine as you possibly could when you're running, sort of running around like this. But
no wonder why the Moroccans want to drop you.
But it works.
Yeah.
So heart rate was a big one, and I still do a lot of my training on heart rate as control the controllables.
Yeah.
You know, right, I know my marathon heart rate is 165 beats a minute. Great. You're in a race, you're in a marathon, it creeps up to 170, but your pace is lower. It's like, right, well, something's not right here.
Yeah. Let's
listen to what I can do. And it's maybe not just going off one part of data, maybe not just your heart rate, but think on how your body's feeling. Right, do I feel like I'm working hard? Yes. Is it the start of a race and I'm going off way too quickly or are you standing on the start line and your heart rate's at 120 already and you haven't started? Yeah, because you're super excited. Right, what does that mean? I'm going to go off way too fast.
Yeah.
And it's going to go through the roof and you're going to go past your lactate threshold. And then I describe that as like a slow puncture you get in your bike. Someone has put a pin or a nail into your bike tyre and has pulled it out, and you're slowly going down and down and down, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about that, and you're going to blow up at some point. Whether it happens during that race or you're lucky enough and you escape from it, you will blow up at some point. So listening to the data is great, but at the end of the day, you've got to listen to your body. And I think I'm so glad that I didn't have my heart rate monitor for Marathon Des Sables. I might have thought at points, right, my heart rate's going way too high, but I feel okay. Or I might not feel okay, but my heart rate's really low. So it's like, I should work harder. So it's combining the data and how your body feels. And the more that you run, the more that you learn about your body, and then you can start to trust your body as well as trusting the data to gauge actually how hard your working is. For a race like Marathon Des Sables, it's not over in a day. You've got a week. You have a whole week of running in a completely alien environment that you probably never run in before.
Plus, you're living in that environment. You're not going home and having a shower.
No, none of that.
You haven't got the dove out, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got
sand grain everywhere.
Yeah, you are slumming it big time. And you can make it slightly more comfortable, and you can have something like you have a blow up mattress,
but then you've got weights.
Precisely, and then
so you got to weigh up.
Yeah, exactly. The heavier your kit is, so that the more you're going to burn, the more calories you're going to burn in order to carry that kit. Therefore, the more calories you're going to need to consume. Therefore, your kit needs to be heavier because you're carrying more calories. And it's an endless cycle. And finding the perfect balance of what to take and what not to take. To be completely honest, there is no gold-plated solution. What works for me won't work for someone else, and vice versa. And it's just trying to find what works the best for you. And people still won't find it. It's like people always say with revision. It's like, you should know now how to revise and how to learn things.
Yeah.
I've got no idea. This is just sort of one thing that I've learned. Certainly throughout this year is there is no 100% solution. 90% would be amazing. 85% is fine. 75% is workable. And it's just practicing and getting used to being comfortable with being uncomfortable almost.
Your nutrition, you did about 2,000 calories a day.
Yeah, so I was...
So that was a minimum amount required. So Tom Evans was like, right, I'm going to take the least amount.
Yeah, I was 2,300 calories a day. The minimum is 2,000.
Okay, so 300
So I was 300 over, which doesn't seem like much. And it wasn't, I don't think, I lost a lot of weight in marathon. Had it been one more day, I think I would have really struggled.
Yeah.
But it wasn't one more day. The science that I'd gone in before and sort of working out my BMR and all these things were really important. So I knew, right, this is what I'm going to burn. This is what I'm going to need to replace. Okay. It's damage limitation. I ate sort of slightly more at the beginning than I did at the end. You're almost sort of loading.
Yes.
Almost as much as you can.
During the actual race, taking on calories, did that change as well over the duration of the race, or were you quite structured and like, this is what I'm doing?
I was really structured. The fortunate thing of being able to run slightly quicker is that you're finished sooner. So
it's a lot more dehydrated.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's always going to be
yeah, precisely. So it's so difficult. So for me, my nutrition plan for Marathon Des Sables, I had one gel, which was 28 grams of carbohydrate on the hour, every hour. That was it. Yeah. 28 grams of carbs an hour, which is really low. In theory, my nutritionist says I should be having somewhere between 1 and 1.5 grams of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight for a long endurance event like Marathon Des Sables. It's going to be over 20 hours. In reality, in a 100k race, that might take, or a 100k mountain race that might take 10 hours, I'm putting more like 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour, every hour, starting from the very beginning. So for Marathon Des Sables being so low...
Why was that? Why did you always just have, that was your goal?
It was...
Or weight?
It's the weight, it's the pros and cons, right? Do I carry more? I like gels, they really work for me. I don't mind the taste. I can eat it. It's easy. And I used goo gels that no caffeine, some sodium in it. But they were sort of fairly heavy, fairly flavoursome, and didn't need to drink afterwards. So what I would do...
Oh, you didn't? They're quite thick, aren't they?
Yeah, quite thick. So I did need to drink afterwards.
You did.
So what I would try and do is, if I knew we were approaching an aid station, where we were going to get water and it was near to an hour, even if it had just been 45 minutes since the last one, I'd say, right, I know I'm approaching here. I can have my gel and I can then finish my water and just get it all down before then replacing the water, rather than getting halfway through a stage and being like, right, I need some more.
During a stage, there were certain feed stations that you could then pick up water during that?
Yeah, exactly. So it's approximately every 10 kilometres where you get water, and you'll know...
Is it prescribed amount?
Yeah, prescribed amount. So sometimes you get big 1.5 litre bottles of water. Sometimes you'll get 1, sometimes you'll get 2. Yeah. You'll know, you get a little card saying, this is how many you're going to get.
Got to stamp it, don't you?
And you get a stamp. Yeah. And it's difficult... If you're planning on running fast, it's very difficult to store 3 litres of water. I carried smaller bottles. I carried 500 milliliter bottles, which was stupid, and I only did it because they're on discount.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
You pay probably $4.5 grand or $5 grand minimum to get to this race.
Yeah, use 750 milliliter bottles. They fit in every pack. Don't worry if the 500 ones are on discount. Don't cheat.
Buy one, get one free. Don't even go there.
Don't go there. So I could only carry 1 litre of water, which is fine. It works for me. I lived for a year in Kenya. I can deal with slightly less water, but it just meant that if I got given two 1.5 litres of water, so 3 litres of water, I poured 1 litre in, and then with the other 2 litres, I sort of poured a bit on my head, drank a little bit, but then I probably left a litre, 1.5 litres.
And that's okay to leave it? There's no
you can leave it, but you're not getting it back.
Okay, there's no I'll get it later.
No, and it's you leave it, and it doesn't. Even if you were able to have 2 bottles and you just took 1, it's not like or I'll just take one later when we get back to camp. It's right, you're only allowed this much here. If you don't take it, it's gone.
Would you say that, let's say going forward, if you were going to do this again, or if you could repeat last year's experience, there's not even think about trying to do this race again, just repeating it, would you take a little bit more calories, would you say? Instead of could have been 100 extra. And if, for example, you thought by day 2 or 3, actually, I'm not using this, I'm just going to get rid.
I think I would probably... Day 1 and day 2 were fine, calorie-wise. I started getting hungry from day 3, so I think I would maybe sort of slightly put the calories up from day 3. Not by much, probably by 100 to 200 calories a day, but have something that I liked. As it's also eating stuff that my nutrition, I had the same meal every evening.
Remember you sent it to me.
And I didn't carry a stove, so I had lukewarm water that I just left in my bottle, put it in the sun for a couple of hours. And I had chicken tikka from Lio Foods, and it was great. It did its job, and it was there for me. The food was the fuel. I wasn't particularly going to enjoy it, but it was going to serve a purpose. And I didn't enjoy eating it. Like, I didn't enjoy eating, like, having to crunch through rice and chicken. Like, chicken should never be crunchy. That's not the best.
So variety.
Yeah, variety is great. Variety is great.
Yeah.
But even if I'd had something like a chia charge bar for afterwards, just something that I slightly looked forward to. By like day 3, day 4, I just wasn't looking forward to eating. I knew I had to eat it, but it was, if you were sort of 45 minutes away from it, gone through the last checkpoint, you'd be like, oh, great, tonight I've got some mini cheddars, or I've got something that I know I'm going to enjoy eating. It's just a little bit of morale rather than being like, oh God, I've got to eat another chicken tikka masala. And I haven't eaten a curry since. I love curry.
Oh, you haven't eaten?
I haven't eaten a curry since. I just can't bring myself to do it. It's a real shame.
Maybe next MdS you'll bring it back out.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. They do some great foods now.
So everyone always talks about feet. Did you have problems?
I was incredibly fortunate.
So you're one of those that walked around camp and told everyone, I'm okay.
No, so when I had a great camp routine.
Okay.
That I would finish, I'd get back to my tent and I just wouldn't leave my tent. I'd just stay in there, I'd lie down, put my feet up, let them air, dry everything out, and just completely chill out. No point in getting up and doing anything.
So letting them dry out is actually really important, isn't it?
Yeah, really important and letting everything dry. And it's going to sound stupid, the quicker that you finish, the less time you spent on your feet, the less damage there is on your feet.
Yeah.
And then also, if something has happened to your feet, because you're in early, you've then got time to go and see the medical tent and get your feet sorted in the daylight. Whereas for people who go slightly slower, and then there are lots of people in when they then get in, there might be a long queue and it's in the dark and your kit might not necessarily dry out before the next morning, so then becomes quite difficult. So I would advise people to understand how to take care of their feet before they go, and whether that's just looking on the internet or speaking to your GP, that have an understanding of how to deal with your foot. If you have a blister, you can deal with that yourself. If half of your foot is falling off, you should probably go to the docs. But when you get into camp, the less time you can spend standing up in the sun, the better.
So I'm aware there's normally quite a long queue to get on the computers and all of that.
Exactly. And the queue, there's no shade. You're standing in the sun. You've just been running, and sending emails is great, and you may have to go to the doctors, but you can deal with. I sent a couple of emails, and a trick for the emails: if you just send you can only send one email before having to log off and then go back on. If you just give someone in your family or one of your friends of your Facebook or whatever passwords, then you can send them an email or an update, and then they can just send it to everyone from there, and it just saves time, and then it also allows other people to then use the computers. But my feet were fine. I think what a lot of people don't with their feet, they always think about, right, I'm gonna sort of make sure my nails are nice and short. I might shave my feet. I might put tape on them. I might powder them. no one thinks about socks. Socks are the most important part about looking after your feet. If you wear a really comfortable sock that may not necessarily be that tight, then when it gets wet, it's going to start to crease, it's going to start to fold over, and that's what's going to rub you. It's not going to have anything to do with your shoes rubbing. Yeah. That's what a lot of people don't think about. So I wear pretty thin but tight socks. I use compressed sports socks.
Okay.
And I'm not sponsored by them. I buy my own socks, and they are the only socks that I wore for Marathon Des Sables. I now wear a couple of other socks, but a similar principle. They're tight, they hug my foot. When they get wet, they don't change shape.
Okay.
Your feet are going to be sweating. They're in trainers, in gaiters, in 40 degrees heat. The ground is hot as well. It's probably hotter than 40 degrees and is almost cooking. So you're being cooked from above from the sun and from below. Your foot is just going to be crazy sweaty. Yeah. So having a sock that fits well on your foot and inside your trainer that's then not going to move. If you are running it and you're not spending that much time out, then there's absolutely no need to have bad feet. And people do say, oh yeah, I get blisters here and there. Like I do get the occasional blister on the front of my index toe almost. Yeah. It's kind of got weird feet and my index toe is almost longer than my big toe.
Isn't that a sign of intelligence or something? Maybe good running.
I don't know. It's something. It's something peculiar. And yeah, so feet are a huge thing. And you spend like a happy feet's a happy runner. Like you've got to look after your feet. You spend so long on your feet, and a lot of people. So whether they struggle with something like plantar fasciitis or just like stiff feet, I spend a lot of time rolling my feet and sort of self-massage on my feet.
So would that be a great time for people now? Like you've got 2.5 weeks before the MdS?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all these little things. And a lot of people, if they're training in the UK or training anywhere where they can't really replicate the terrain, the Marathon Des Sables terrain, it's not necessarily that technical, but there are rocks, there are places to twist your ankles. If you can have really strong ankles and good balance, then you're going to be able to run better. It's something that I do every day, twice a day. When I'm brushing my teeth, morning and evening, I stand on one leg. It's 4 minutes of balance every day. And it's that sort of strengthening up of your ankles, strengthening up of your knees, just getting your body used to being able to support itself at weird angles that's going to pay massive dividends. Like the running's all great. But now I'm starting to think about a taper.
Running's the easy part in a way. A lot of people kind of say it's all these tapering and all that stuff.
People don't realise how much extra stuff goes into a good performance. The best runner probably won't win Marathon Des Sables. The best on paper, the best runner will not win Marathon Des Sables. It will go to the person who's the best prepared.
So let's say, everyone's now starting their heat acclimation. What would you say is like key things that they should be taking into consideration? They're coming in every day for an hour. Yeah,
so with the heat acclimation, especially at the moment in the UK, with it being so cold, you're going from a house that's nice and warm, walking to your car where you're absolutely freezing, you're then pumping up the temperature in your car, driving here, walking outside again, getting freezing, coming inside the lab, nice and hot, going back outside freezing. So your temperature is just going like that throughout the whole day. You need to try and keep it as level as possible, but then also realising what that change in temperature is doing to your body, especially your immune system. Now is not the time to get ill. You put so much time and effort and money into getting yourself this far. The worst thing you can do now is get ill and then everything just goes to waste. So making sure you're staying as healthy as possible. If you've got friends who are getting ill or if someone's got a cough, just stay away. Don't shake people's hands. No. It's almost like second nature after a while and you just get used to it, but it can just... The worst thing that would happen is you get a little cold 2 weeks before.
So eating, nutrition-wise, is probably also really important with that.
Nutrition's so key. Basically, it's so difficult in a taper, but just eat. Eat what makes you happy within reason. You're going to lose, whoever runs the race is going to lose so much weight during the race. You need to have a little bit extra. You can't afford to go to the race looking like an elite 10K runner with nothing on you, because regardless, you're going to lose weight. And if you've got that weight to lose, that's great. But then also with the nutrition, but also the hydration. You're sweating so much. If it's a morning session, for example, an hour, you might be sweating sort of up to 3 litres of sweat. So replacing that, I replace what I lose by 1.5.
150%.
Yeah, 150%. But throughout the day, that doesn't mean, right, just neck 3 litres of water in the morning and that's you for the rest of the day. It's ensuring that you stay hydrated throughout the day, but then also remembering to replace the electrolytes, the sodium, magnesium that you lose.
It's probably a good idea is having a water bottle, on the desk with you, and a few sips, kind of as you would be during a race. Just make yourself aware.
Yeah, exactly. Always having liquid with you.
You don't have to just have water. So, like Tom was saying, electrolyte replacement is great. Tea, you can, coffee. As long as you're getting the fluid back in. Exactly,
and the fluid's so important, especially with your heat training. And it's just, if you're not hydrated, or if you are hydrated, you're boosting your blood, you're sort of increasing the plasma, and you're allowing the acclimation to actually take place. Yeah. If you're dehydrated, that's not going to happen, and your body is just going to constantly be dehydrated. And it may hydrate again enough, but it's going to be working so hard on hydrating itself and not getting ill with the acclimation. The reason why we're doing this isn't going to happen, so you're just wasting your time.
So if someone comes in, so they've had a morning session, they've done an hour in the heat chamber, and they think, well, I'm going to do a 30-minute run or 45-minute run later. I've got to do it because when they're coming in the chamber, we're actually putting them on bikes for a number of reasons. Firstly, so we can make sure that we can help as many people as we can. Yeah. Also, take the load off, allow the legs to recover in case majority, I would say 85% of our people have had niggles, slight pain in knees, etc. So if someone's come in and done a bike session in the morning in the heat, and then they're thinking they have to go and run 45 minutes later, but they're tired. What, at this stage, where it's, just over 2 weeks till the race, what is the best thing that you would recommend?
There are so many different ways of doing it. And at this stage, if you've had good training throughout Marathon Des Sables and you've run before, and you roughly understand how your body works. Firstly, if you are feeling tired, try and determine what type of tired that is. Is it right, I'm genuinely tired and I think I'm slightly overdoing it? Or is it, I'm just tired, I can't be bothered. Or it's a little bit cold outside, you're almost convinced, you're almost looking for excuses not to do it. Once you've determined those, and if it is I think I am actually genuinely tired, just rest. There are so many other things that you can do that will really help, whether it's looking at your nutrition, or it's doing some strength and conditioning, doing some core exercises, or even going to the gym, having another session on the bike, doing some cross training, whatever it is, will all help.
Even spending time with family.
Yeah, exactly.
You've spent a majority of your time training, and sometimes just having an evening where it's a family dinner can really just boost morale and give you that motivation.
Yeah, it's so important, and I didn't do that much before Marathon Des Sables, but something that I've taken on now is trying to combine as much of my training into having a social life. So whether it's you get a friend to come and pace you on a bike if you're doing a tempo session, or you're going to run somewhere and you're going to meet wife and kids in a cafe or a restaurant somewhere, or husbands. I'm not going to meet my husband or my wife and kids. And it's just trying to incorporate them into what you're doing, getting them to achieve buy-in as well. Like you'd have put them through hell and back, and it's going to be Marathon Des Sables is significantly more stressful for wives, husbands, and family than it is for the runner. The runner, you just do it, but the signal for the tracking will cut out, and it won't say that you've crossed the line, or your email won't get through, and you won't get an email from them. You've got no phone signal, and people just start panicking. So
it does happen. I mean, once when I did Ironman,
my
tracker, I was constantly in the car rental place in Hawaii, and my mum was like, what's she doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Is she okay? Or something happened? And actually it just cuts out. So.
Yeah, precisely. It cuts out. So if you can achieve that buy-in, it's huge. And whether it's getting them to help help pack your kit, or if you've got kids, I know what a lot of people do is they buy a couple of extra meals that they're going to eat, and when they're testing, you have like, right, tonight we're gonna eat like what mummy or daddy is going to do for the race. We're gonna sit on the floor and we're going to eat this meal.
Tikka.
Yeah, chicken tikka or whatever. Don't have that. It's fine. It's delicious. And yeah, it's just achieving buy-in is because it's so mentally. The race is more than just physical. You've got to be mentally strong. And another sort of mantra that I like to use for training and racing is sort of leave your baggage at the sideline. You've got to be able to get to Gatwick with everything sorted out. You've got no stress, no worries about the stuff that's going on at home. If you've got to pay bills, pay them before you go.
Yeah.
If you've got a deadline for anything, do it before you go, because the last thing you want to do is to worry about it. So get to Gatwick on the day that you're flying. You've got everything sorted. You've got your whole personal life taken care of. Everything's as good as it possibly can be. So then you can then go into the race and then really focus on why you're doing it and have that really strong reason, that purpose for you wanting to race. And then no doubt you'll have an incredible journey. Whether you're planning on competing in the race and you want to be the top Brit, top 10, you want to win it, amazing. Or you're out there to complete it, or you're raising money for charity or awareness for something, then a lot of it is in your head. And there are going to be times where it's super tough. And if you've got that purpose the whole way through, you know that your family and your friends are rooting for you, and you get those emails, it does genuinely drive you forwards.
And I would also say, during this period of time, mental imaging, laying out scenarios in your head of, say you're on a bike race and you've got a puncture, just going through the steps, what to do. And for example, okay, you've got a blister. What are the steps I'm going to do to help myself? Precisely.
And the mental game is difficult. And I use a lot of visualization for my races. Every race that I do, if possible, I will run the course before. So I've got a good understanding of the course. I can then run it through in my mind. Even if I can't get to the course, but I know what the course is going to be, I'll look on Google Maps. For Marathon Des Sables, it's slightly more difficult because you don't know exactly where the course is going to be. But hopefully you've seen some photos, seen some videos, some imagery of other people doing races. If you haven't, look at Ian Corliss' website and it'll just show you everything that you need to know about the race, or just watch the James Cracknell documentary on YouTube, as I'm sure everyone has. And that will just give you a good idea of what to expect. You can then imagine yourself in that environment and try and visualize yourself doing it. And visualizing what does success look like for you? Yeah. Does it look like, you crossing the line in front of Mohammed and Rashid, or does it look like you crossing the line 10 metres in front of the camels on the last day and Patrick Bowie handing you your medal, putting it over your neck and shaking your hand, being like, right, that's you done. You've completed this incredible journey. And there are things like another thing that I use is just powerful, positive thoughts. Yeah. Like I said earlier, there are times where it's going to be terrible and you're going to wish you're not there. But just remember why you're doing this. Like when I was doing Marathon Des Sables, I was raising money for Walking the Wounded charity, and I knew the better that I could do, the more exposure it's going to get, the more likely people are to find out more about the charity and then potentially donate. And people were so generous, and it was amazing. And being able to hear from them that it was genuinely making a difference. It made a huge difference to them, and it also made a huge difference to me. That really, really spurred me on, and just staying positive. And I'm as positive as I can. I have very, very few negative friends. And if someone's being negative, I say, right, just don't
absorb it.
No, you just don't need any negativity in your life. And with something like Marathon Des Sables that is incredibly tough, it's tough for everyone. Whether you win it, I was fortunate to finish third last year, and it's
amazing.
It's seriously tough.
It's seriously
and then guys who finish, Duncan Slater, double leg amputee, completed the race last year. Incredible. The guy did it in a cow outfit last year, and he'll be back this year in a fleecy cow outfit. He'll come back and do it again because Yeah, it's amazing. Everyone's there for different reasons, and if you've got a really strong purpose and you genuinely believe that you are able to do it, then you are. There's nothing to hold you back except yourself.
I think that's probably a really positive and great place to stop. But thank you so much for coming out. And again, I wish everyone, and I'm sure Tom does, the best of luck, and just enjoy the experience. All right, take care.
Take care.